All right, and we're live. Welcome everyone to another Xamarin Community Stand-Up Work at Home edition. We got our monkeys out. There it is.
Oh,
Saw it back there. Sebastian's here joining us live from the quarantine zone, and we're trying a new setup over here. We got there we go. We have a crazy setup. We got my Skype setup over here. I got my personal setup over here. Well, welcome. This is your first .NET Community Stand-Up. We do these twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and now we're actually doing them 3 days a week. We just had our first EF Core Community Stand-Up yesterday with Jeremy Lickness and team, which is super fun. So if you join that, be sure to go to live.net. You can get all the show notes, see upcoming events, things like that. But I have my best friends in the entire world, Maddie, David, and Shane. How's it going, everyone?
Hey. How's it going?
up?
I'm in my crazy... And we have Skype. I think doing it via Skype is my new favorite thing with the Skype emojis.
Way to go! Yeah, it's even better than blurred and weird backgrounds, I think.
see, well, you can do blurred backgrounds now in Skype too. Did you know that?
You can.
Yeah,
it's very fancy.
It's pretty fancy. Yeah, no, and I got Xamagoned up over here because I don't know. It's hard when you have so many people on a single call to make it look good. But we got, I'm not an NDI master, and my computer, I need a new one, folks. Service Book 3.
Service Book 3 looks pretty nice.
No.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, that's it. That's our stand-up. There you go. And all right.
Wrap it.
You can tell it's still early for a lot of us. Yeah. Although I do have a Surface Go, and I would like another Surface Go 2 maybe with the M3 processor. That would be nice instead of the gold processor. But we have so many people on. We put this up on the Xamarin YouTube, the .NET Foundation YouTube. You can find us on the Twitch and Mixers for Visual Studio. So many people all over the globe. This is amazing. A few people have realized that I no longer have a beard. That's a thing at some point, and I do look a lot younger. It's great. I prefer my face with no facial hair on it, if that's a surprise to anybody. I prefer my entire head, just no hair, maybe eyebrows.
Just go.
I thought you were going to say I prefer my face with no face on it, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's a movie about that somewhere. So, my goodness. Wow. Well, look at that. And Restream is telling us we've got 100 messages today with Restream chat. Yay. We have a very active chat. Hey, everyone. We have so many people from all over the globe. This is amazing. Surrenda says, I look like an intern from college. That's great. Thank you. That's a compliment. I believe that if we can see younger Dave Slack emoji here. Can we get that going?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, how do you do? How can you show the Slack emojis? You can't show the chat.
Oh, they see them. It pops up over your face.
It goes up over your face if you put it in the chat. I think.
It did.
Really? All right. Well, let's figure that out.
Yeah.
Last time you did it, it did it.
It did.
All right, here we go. I gotta find it.
Wherever you did it.
Now the pressure scrolling is going too fast.
There you go.
That's David Hart now.
That shows up.
That shows up, yeah.
Yeah, if the chat's hidden, I think it shows up.
That's the power of Skype, man. That was great.
I'm on the delay. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Yeah. And it's right over my face. It's fantastic.
Perfect.
This is your first .NET Community Stand-Up. This is what we do. It's a roundtable chat with the product and engineer teams of your favorite products. And on Thursdays, the first Thursday of every month, it's May, people. It's May. I made a nice turnip profit this week, so I'm very happy. And yeah, this is first Thursday. We have Xamarin Stand-Up talking mobile dev, all the goodness. Now, if this is your first .NET Community Stand-Up, you should join all of them. Of course, you can go to live.net. But we go through a few things. We have community links, the things that you are working on out there in the community, PRs, blog posts, podcasts, all the good stuff. And then we're going to go into some demos. And today, Shane's going to give us a hands-on of Xamarin.Forms 4.6. If you missed the Xamarin Show, XamarinShow.com, me and David did 6 things to love in Xamarin.Forms 4.6. And that number will increasingly get larger.
We have to. It's demanded.
And then until 5.0, and then 5 things to love. So that's it. 50 things to love. That's it. All right, Maddie, it's all you. I got nothing.
All righty. Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad the chat's so explosive. Everyone's really loving our taste of social interaction.
It is very good. This is the most social interaction I've had in weeks. So
yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. All right, I'm gonna drop them links. The usual.
Drop them
so
links.
That should be in all the chats everywhere using that Restream thing. It's very cool. We got a bunch of stuff. Y'all have been busy. quarantining with your blogs. It's very exciting. First and foremost, of course, we got our virtual Xamarin. Dave, you really just zoomed in real close, and you're muted, so I can't hear your quips. I don't even know if anyone can see him right now.
Oh, no,
yeah, you can see his face in the bubble. Okay, good.
Look at that.
Good.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
Don't
pay attention to me.
It's hard out of the corner of my eye when Dave's nose becomes my entire 1440 monitor. All right, virtual conferences. I'm so excited. And virtual user groups. So people have been doing a great job kind of transitioning and adjusting to the new world that we live in right now. But the big thing to call out on this list is Microsoft Build. It's happening May 19th. It's free. You can register. There's a whole bunch of like pre-recorded talks. There's a whole bunch of live talks. You'll be able to do Q&A with the folks who are presenting. The same big names you expect from any Build conference. There's a lot of Xamarin. Actually, pretty much everyone on this call has been very involved in figuring out what we're going to show and how we're going to show it in a couple weeks. So there is a lot.
I'm registered. Did you all register? I registered.
I'm registered.
Actually, I didn't.
I was like, should I register? I didn't get an email, but it says free, so I like free things. And
so I'm pretty sure there's a link to watch the keynote live without registering, but you don't get access to any of like the cool content.
Can we also do a quick shout out, because there was a company-wide email to the entire Microsoft organization about Build, and none other than our Maddie Legere was featured in said email about the Build keynote. So I'm just saying, that's a pretty big, pretty excited. So look out.
Yes, I'm very excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I did turn my kitchen into a Teams background. I will be tweeting it after we air it. It's very exciting. So, all right, Build, very exciting. I'm hyped. It's gonna be awesome. Like I said, so much Xamarin. All right, always a challenge. Love me a good Xam challenge. This one's fun because it's this picture, which is also the heading of a blog post about it. Gerald and Matt combined their brain powers to make a Xamarin and Crazy Cognitive Services combo challenge. It started on the 20th. It ended on the 30th. Unfortunately, it is over. So, of course, keep your eyes on the blogs at all times. Look at this cute little monkey in his little floral outfit. He's very cute. But you can go and check out all the features that people added to this Travel Monkey repo right here. So there's about 25 PRs, which is pretty cool. You can see what all these different people did. And, of course, our amazing community, great at blogging. Vote on here, blogged about what he added, so you can go in and see exactly what he did. Did some localization. The American that I am, I read this as polish localization. Like, why is he polishing the localization implement? And I was like, oh, man. So, squeak, squeak. Yeah, no, but he did a bunch of stuff. So this is just one of the many vlogs. I know some people are just joining in, so we did drop this in the chat earlier. I'll drop it again. But you can follow along with me flying through these on these links. Sweet. All right. So, Dan Siegel, I know you're in the chat. I owe you an apology because last month you came out with this really cool thing called Mobile Build Tools, and you Twitter DM'd it to me, and I still forgot to put it in the community stand-up links because I am the worst. They're here now. It's awesome. I actually spent some time going through this website. It's just a collection of, the sentence says it all. It's a collection of MS Build tasks, and it just makes it smarter. And Dan, of course, many of you folks are probably familiar with Dan. He's all over the Prism world and Avanti Point and Xamarin and .NET. So he knows, he's been through the ringer with MS Build. I trust him with this stuff. But Dan also just published out a blog this morning about icon fonts and how he's made it easy using one of his new tools that he came out with. Xamarin.Forms added font image source, which we've talked about a few times on this before. It's the best. But he went about why he hates it, which is classic Dan. Dan, I love you. Your first comment is always why you hate something. And then how you made it better, and it's fantastic. We love it. And some nougats, of course. Just pull them in, and it's actually very nice. You can search and yeah. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this one I'm really excited about. So Charlene is on Community Stand-Up all the time because she's always blogging cool stuff. Pierce, I joined and I heard Maddie say, I am the worst. Pierce just said on YouTube. Yes. Charlotte has been teaching a class to software engineering students in the DR, and she had them create a Xamarin.Forms app using any open source API, which is really cool. So she showcased them all in this blog post. I'm not going to go through all of them right now, but they're super cool. I love seeing what all these people did. Anything from Marvel to drinks. Love me a drink, and then beer. I can see, Charlene, what you get your students really hooked on. Not Spotify but there's a whole lot, and you can go in. The source code's all up, so you can go check it out. And they've used some of our amazing community plugins. I don't know, some of those look familiar, maybe all of them. So they're great. Oh yes, Tiny MVVM 2.0. It is now slightly less tiny. Daniel has James is just laughing at my bad jokes. This is all I have.
It's a small. It's not micro. It was micro, then it was tiny, and now it's small, and then it'll be medium, large, right. And then title, subtitle. I'm trying to font size.
Header
whatever
MVVM.
Yeah.
But he did kindly go in and highlight some of the things that he's added to Tiny MVVM for the 2.0 release. Lots of stuff. It's a reasonably dense article, but not too dense. But definitely check out Daniel's blog if you're interested in his stuff. The best open source stuff, as always. All right. Yes. Analytics. So when I was an intern at Microsoft, they were like, you have to put telemetry in your app. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And they said, just use this App Insights thing. And then I was like, I don't know what that means. If this blog was out when I worked on my first app, I would have probably had an easier time. So this is by John, and it's just like the simplest way of hooking in analytics.track event, and then it all comes up to App Center, and it shows you, he draws the arrows, he shows you exactly what to click, and then all the way down here, boom, my events are showing up, and then you can query it all, and there's some charts, and then I think at the end he talks about Power BI for a little bit. It's great. It's fantastic. And he did a follow-up blog on this about specifically crash data. So check this one out if you are, looking at telemetry and kind of like the simplest. I always think of App Insights with App Center as one of the more like GUI-friendly ways of doing telemetry. There are obviously a bajillion ways to do it, but this one I particularly like. All right, Steven's got that animations. He's competing with James, who also came out with a good animation blog post this past month. I don't remember if it was before or after.
Mine was probably like terrible, and then his was probably awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much. Probably
read yours and was like, no.
That may have been. I haven't seen this, but it's funny because I think we both opened up with like, hey, there's a bunch of built-in stuff, and then here's how I can do other. It'd be fun. Do we literally have the same blog post? I swear I did not see this blog post.
Them open side by side, and I was like, oh, I can't do both of these because they're similar.
Classic
I'll
James.
do the community one.
Wait, what date? What's the date?
April 23rd.
Oh no, mine was in May. So.
Oh. Look. I see Steven's in the Twitch too, so you're in trouble.
A funny thing about my blog post is that I was talking about doing the animations live. I was building it live on Twitch, and Steven helped me with the animation. Isn't that funny? And then because he probably had blogged it, knew about it, or he got inspired by my Twitch stream. He's in the chat. He can confirm or deny this. So, and then funnily enough that I blogged what he taught me because he taught me something. Because there's an entire animation framework built into Xamarin.Forms that nobody knows about. It's right there. Nobody knows about it.
It's right there.
Look at that.
It's so cool. Yeah. The thing I liked about Steven's was he made the apple shake. And I just sat and watched this picture of Snoop Dogg and shook around a little bit for like 20 minutes. Cool. And that's pretty much all I have to add about this blog post.
What about bouncing Apple icons? Keep going. What else we got?
Where is it? The bounce. Oh, look at this. Graphs. Oh.
Yeah, his blog's much better than mine.
Whose dog is barking?
No, I don't have a dog.
David. Yeah. Like, my dog's bark is more annoying than that.
That's great.
Asleep. All right.
That was really well timed with Snoop Dogg, I guess, huh?
It really was. Yeah.
That's who he saw. He's all excited. I'm Snoop Dogg. Woof, 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 woof.
Oh, God. All right. Whew, almost there. I have 4 more. I could keep the composure. Damien wrote this one, which I had to call out because the first thing that he said on the 6 ways in which Xamarin.Forms has evolved is the tooling and productivity, which is my life and Pierce's life. I know he's in the chat. It's the best. Look at all these tools. Look at all these tools we're working on. They're great. Also, I was saying earlier, I had to go into in private because all my ads on all your community websites, people, I love the ads. I love that you're getting revenue from me reading these, but they're all like all the online shopping I've been doing. So they're all like yoga pants, food, yoga pants. And I'm like, oh God. So I promise I haven't been looking for wallets.
I mean, that's a cool new wallet. And I told Maddie a secret. I told everyone on the stream, here's a secret for everybody on the stream, all 300 people. Go into Edge, go into your privacy and security section, and go to strict. It'll just block all the ads. I know, like, I have ads on my site to make 10 cents a day, but like you can just block all of them. I block my own ads. I block everybody's ads. It's great. Highly recommended. Nobody knew this. I don't know how anyone didn't know this. It's my favorite feature of Edge. You go into Edge settings, privacy and services, and then right here it'll say basic. You don't want to be basic. Balanced is recommended. And then strict. It blocks a majority of trackers. Content and ads will have minimal personalization, so no yoga pants. Parts of sites may not work. My favorite is parts of sites may not work. And I can confirm that every once in a while. And then you can go into the little lock and then you can say turn off strict for this website. And then you can do that too. So unless you want, the worst thing about ads is like, when you just bought yoga pants and then it shows you more yoga pants. It's like, I didn't want, I already bought the yoga pants. Like, and then you feel bad when it's like a startup, right? And you're like, oh, I bought this coffee subscription, but then like they had to pay to put the coffee subscription on there. But like now they're paying, I'm already a member. I was trying to support them, but now they got to pay more. That's unfair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. No, it's horrible.
I wish there was a way
after I bought them.
I wish there was a way to say, I already bought this thing. Stop showing me this ad. Go show it to somebody else.
I like that. Yes, Steven, you should buy some yoga pants.
I believe so.
I can recommend.
Yeah, yoga, yoga. I mean, there's like, if you go to Lululemon and there's other ones, I use Rhone, like RHONE, I think is the company. They're on all the podcasts. Rhone. Whew, that's good stuff. It's not like yoga pants, but it's,
I'm gonna have to write it down.
Steven's a cyclist. I'd be surprised if he doesn't have the equivalent of yoga pants already.
Squishy pants. That's what I call them. The squishy pants. Because, the first time you ride like a Century, you need some squishy pants, and they protect your bottom. They're squishy. They're squishy on the bottom.
Diaper.
I guess I do have, they're kind of like yoga pants. They're like tighter than yoga pants, though. The bicycle shorts?
Yes.
They're called biker shorts, yeah. They're just yoga pants cut off above the knee.
Called inappropriate. That's what they are. Yeah.
They're all different inches. You can get the 6-inch, the 8-inch, the 12-inch.
The first time I bought squishy pants for riding, I felt I didn't like, I didn't know how to feel just like going out like riding. So I put shorts over, like, over my. And I think that's okay. I
go for baggy pants. So basically what mountain bikers use, but I don't go on the road anymore. So it's even better.
And that's why I drive a car.
That's like,
I have a
hey, Maddie, remember when we almost got run over by a train?
Shane was in the car for that too.
Just driving that thing.
That was terrifying.
That was
you were in the car too, Shane?
Yeah, it was the first time I met Maddie, and she's like, "It's fine to park on the tracks."
No, that's not what happened.
And then the little thing starts to come down, and like, I don't know.
I'm from Boston. It's fine.
That's not what happened. This is a changed recounting of the story.
And this is what community stand-ups are about, everybody.
Yeah.
So.
And hey, to circle it back, that was all because of last year at Build. We were doing our developer day where we went and we talked to our developers in person down in Seattle about all the great things, which I wish we could do again, but now you can just watch us talk about it on Twitch, maybe next year.
This is true.
All right.
I think she was just trying to establish a hierarchy when I met her. She's like parking on the tracks, and she's like researching.
There wasn't a line.
She just sat there and looked at me. So don't question me.
All right. Xamarin.Forms and my driving skills have both evolved in many ways. Bringing it back. Lots of things. If you've missed some of the things, Damien has listed out his favorite 6, including tooling, which is the best because I work on it, and then shell, which is also great. Ideology, because we're all geniuses and we now think about Xamarin.Forms in an even better way than ever. Scroll. The checkbox. I lost it. The checkbox. All right. Design patterns. Similar look and feel on every platform. Material. Woohoo! And then all the little things that we've been working on, which I know Pierce, if he's still listening, like those are things that Pierce and I talk about all the time. We're doing the little things. There are also some big things, but
I'm sure Pierce gave up on us probably 20 minutes ago. So
yeah. Oof. All right, Sharpnado. If you've seen Motz's turnip tracking app, he uses this heavily. I actually noticed that there was something funky happening with Jean-Marie's stuff here because I had to, when I was working on Motz's turnip tracking app, go out and pull down a new NuGet because he split it out. He split his frames out to material frame.
Yeah,
GitHub.
And I'll say I updated my app to use the new NuGet, and it shaved 0.5 meg because it doesn't have any of the other stuff off of it. So, and that's with app bundles. So I mean, it might even be smaller than that, but it did shrink it down. It was a seamless update from Jean-Marie. I found a bug because it doesn't work on Android 6, but besides that, it never worked on Android 6. Yeah, so then I just said Android 7 is my minimum. That's how I fix it. So
yeah.
But this thing is beautiful. I mean, when I was started, he only had a few of the acrylics, but now he has all these blurs and lights. I mean, look at this thing. It's beautiful. So
it's so nice.
Yeah. Oh, there's my app. Oh my goodness. Is he calling me out?
He's celebrating.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's cool. Look at that. I didn't even read the blog post. I read the first part and I said I need it, and then I turned away.
Did we lose Maddie?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's what's happening. I'm like, oh, she looks kind of frozen.
Uh-oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, on that note, David, are you going through community PRs?
And I love that this is...
Oh, wait, she's back. Maddie's back? Maddie's gone? Maddie's here? Maddie's gone.
She loved it for a moment.
Maddie's back? Maddie's back.
I'm back? I don't know what happened. I could hear everything you were saying. I could hear, Maddie's gone, and I was like, no, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Let me share my screen again. We're having a great time. Just so you all know, James couldn't hear us for like the 2 or 3 minutes while the stream was starting, and we were unmuted. So he was just talking, and David and I were, well, David wasn't. David was laughing at me as I responded to James, and every single time it was like, shoot, he can't hear me. We're doing great today.
I have a very complex setup today. Let's just say that. So
yeah. Sorry for the trauma, for the buffering trauma. Okay. Luis made a great blog post. Examples and tips. It's like the kitchen sink of just cool things about Xamarin. I love this blog. I'm not going to go through it because it's huge, but I'm going to sit here at this table of contents for a second so you can see general tips, performance, Visual Studio, MVVM, XAML, C#, design, and example apps, and an extra tip. Big surprise. Check it out. I'll go put the links in again in case you just joined. And check it out because it's great. Love it. It's long. So, make your cup of coffee, scroll through, enjoy it. And then finally... this one's cool. This one's about RESTful web services using Refit, which I wasn't actually super familiar with. I guess it's actually part of Reactive UI. I was like, that's cool. The most important part of this blog to me, besides the whole blog, which is fantastic, is this. In Visual Studio, you can go to Edit, Paste Special, paste to JSON as a class. And I had no idea you could do this until I read this blog. And I was like, I have been spending all this time going to these websites.
Yeah.
JSON, C#,
yeah,
and
that's
pasting.
what I always go to. I didn't know that as well. That's cool.
Yeah, I opened VS and I checked because I was like, this is a lie. She has an extension. There's no way. No, but it's real. It's very cool and it works. It was great. So
we just need a GUID generator.
Right.
That's the website I go to.
I do. I go to the GUIDgenerator.com or whatever, and yeah. There might
be
one
that from your terminal.
I bet Maz Christensen has created one for VS. In fact, I can almost guarantee he's created one for Windows. We should look that up. That's a good blog. Next a month. Shane has created a cross-platform Xamarin.Forms extension for Visual Studio. How many GUIDs would you like? 25.
Yes, please. Perfect.
GUIDs is code.
GUID. Yeah, so this is a cool blog. I also, like, the more I looked into Refit, when I went into the rabbit hole of it, the more I was like, oh, this is actually really clean. I like it a lot. So check it out. That's it. I'm going to stop sharing before I crash again.
Oh, my goodness.
What do we got next? I don't know why this is happening, but it's fine.
I mean, you can blame my laptop, my 2013 MacBook Pro. That's what you guys are on right now. It's on Wi-Fi. It is about 1 foot away from the Google Wi-Fi hotspot, so I think that makes it worse. Oops. So adjust my router so it doesn't.
Are you ready for me?
I'm ready. We got PRs.
I have PRs.
Okay, let me adjust Skype here. I wish it would auto go into float mode. Ooh, turtle.
All right, are we on?
We're on. It's go time. It's happening.
Cool. All right, so I was scanning through, of course, what we had in Xamarin.Forms, Xamarin Essentials, and across all the SDKs, and here's what we got. Now, of course, there's a lot of beautiful bug fixes. This one is an extension to something that was added late last year, which was the ability to share cookies with your web view. And so this is a way for you to then say, okay, do I really want that or not? So you can opt in, opt out of it.
Yeah, we actually removed that.
You did? You pulled this?
Yeah.
We need a pulled. We need a reverted.
Yeah, because it was basically fixing, because the way it was implemented was on Android. It was always just deleting all your cookies regardless, which was causing some auth issues. But now it's just basically because the cookies container starts out as null. So basically at this point, if you don't initialize the cookies container, it's the same thing as having should manage cookies as off.
Mm-hmm.
So you only manage cookies if you sort of init a cookie container and then start interacting with the cookies. So yeah, we just pushed a PR for that'll be out in 4.6 SR1.
Okay.
Which adds a lot of syncing capabilities as well with the cookies. So if you push the cookies container, it'll after you like navigate or something like that, it'll fill up with whatever cookies are on the page. And then at that point you can expire or add more, and then on following navigations, it'll add or remove those.
So it's kind of like the community PR pushed it, like it was in, but then it made it actually even better, because then we had to sometimes I like when PRs do that, you're like, this PR is a good start, and then let's rethink it, and then boom, it's a good collaboration.
Yeah, and so then the main issue too was that it was sort of breaking if you didn't do anything. But now at this point, it sort of rolls it back a little, so that if you don't init the container, it's basically like having should manage cookies set to false, because by default that property is null. So yeah, and then if you set and then if you grab the cookies from the cookie container and then you expire any of them, then it'll remove it from the web view. So yeah, I don't know. Test this one out a bunch. I'm really curious to see people playing with this, with doing like auth cookies and things like that. So ideally, you would just sort of be able to interact through that cookie container, do everything you want. Yeah. So just let us know. Let us know if some of the syncing is weird or yeah. But yeah, that just went in, so that'll go out with the SR on 4.6.
Shane, if I submit a bug that says you have to change every time you say cookie container to cookie jar, will that get closed?
So the local variable is actually called cookie jar when we pull it into the renderers.
Yes!
Yeah,
good.
Yeah. So in the renderer in the local, like locally scoped ones, anytime we pull it for the method or whatever, I call it a cookie jar.
And we have an event that's who stole the cookie from the cookie jar.
Yeah.
So look for that soon. Well, so the reason that the cookie thing jumped out to me was because I had recently spoken with a large customer who was needing and doing more with cookies and web, because they were doing kind of some hybrid things within their applications. So I was excited to see that we're improving that whole thing.
Yeah. And the original one, the way it kind of worked too, like I said, it was sort of destructive. So if you added any cookies, it would just erase any cookies that were already part of the web. But now it's sort of it's a cooperative effort. So it won't remove any existing cookies. It'll just add whatever you want to add. So yeah, it was a little interesting getting it to work with sort of a single container. But yeah, so I don't know, play with that a bunch, people, see if you can add auth cookies and various other things, and let us know.
Cool. All right, next one is updating the item updating scroll mode when an element is loaded on iOS. And so I wanted to call attention to this one because it's continual improvements to the quality of collection view, which is a key focus of this sprint and probably next sprint for our core team. But it's also great to see the extensive use of collection view in the community and the continual improvements to collection view. So glad to see that that feature, that control continuing to improve. Andre here has already submitted some enhancements. Expander is new in Xamarin.Forms 4.6 under the experimental flag. This is a control that allows you to have a header, and then as you tap on it, you expand out to show the content, and then of course it collapses. And this adds the ability to do horizontal as well. And a few other options. So I know that one of the things we've also been talking about is adding the ability to have it clip as opposed to kind of scale and stretch. So you can kind of control a bit more of that. And there's also some bug fixes, which I don't know if I pulled the PR for that, but Andre has also been submitting bug fixes for his own contribution, which I really think is awesome. All right, adding shell renderers for Watch. This one kind of blew my mind. Wasn't really something that was on my radar, but the Samsung team continues to push forward the Tizen implementation for using Xamarin.Forms, both on their circular UI for the watches, as well as their other devices. And so the shell has become more and more popular. It's a great and easy way, of course, to get started. Shane does the majority of work on shell right now and is doing some great work to take it even more cross-platform and give us more customization. As a matter of fact, I think maybe Shane will show some of the 4.6 improvements that he has brought for styling and things like that. But if you're doing any Samsung Tizen work and you are using shell, now you can also carry that directly over to your watch. Pretty awesome. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So this is one where I want some conversation, and I know that Shane and I talked a little bit about this. Aderbond, he saw that we had added this nifty URL shortcut to trim off the last route and re-execute the route during navigation. Essentially, effectively doing a back navigation. Really powerful when you, for example, pop a modal or maybe you navigate to a page, but you do it from different places and you don't necessarily want to have to pass in the previous route to then route back to it. This is a great way to do that. And in some cases, go back async is really kind of the intention of what you're doing, but not in all cases. So if you have thoughts on how you like this to work, perhaps Dan and the Prism fans out there would have some opinions to share with us, some thoughts from experience. Please come up here and let's have a conversation about this particular PR. We definitely like the discoverability of adding a method like go back async. It would actually be off of the shell.current. But at the same time, is that the right word? Is that the right meaning? What are the behaviors we expect? All those sorts of things. So worthy of conversation.
Does it go back? Does it go up? Can you override it and go up multiple? Because I guess like Shane, because I started using this in my app. So when I upgraded, so you can do, shell.current go async or whatever the command is. And you do ... just like cd ... right? It's super cool. Can you do ... /... to go up to then? Does that work?
Yep.
Yeah, so you could do multiple.
My favorite new thing.
Yeah.
I saw that in one of our conversations the other day, and I was like, wait, like ... like the terminal? And James was like, yes, exactly, like the terminal. And I was like, this is the best day of my life.
Yeah, you can add parameters and everything. So you can do like ... parameters, and it'll pass those parameters to wherever it ends up.
Oh, that is cool too. So you could actually, oh wow, that's a great way of then passing back information. So like if you added a new item, you could then pop it back. We got to add that to the template. That'd be nice. So I guess that's the question with go back async is like, yeah, it's nifty, but then how do you do the other stuff?
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's a little too. I mean, like you were saying, where does it go? Like it might be a little unexpected. So I have a comment down on the bottom there, sort of with some of my thoughts. If anybody wants to sort of read that, and then
Maybe I should just scroll down.
Go from there.
I was going to start typing some pseudocode based on what we were talking about.
Yeah, because the go back is just my only concern about it was like go back to what? Because people might start thinking like, if you're navigating between flyout items, why doesn't go to the previous flyout item? If the user clicks a bunch of different tabs and then they say click, someone calls go back, like where should it go? Should it go? Should it keep track of all the tabs that you clicked? Should it go back to just the first one? And then, like you were saying, James, being able to overwrite it. So there's some work coming with some of the MVVM integration that I think will open up some APIs to sort of that'll be discoverable and sort of do the same concept. But yeah, I mean, the dot concept sort of just tracks with the way routes are built, because all it really does is pop the last part. Like all it does internally is takes the route URI, pops the last one off, and then sends that to go to async. That's all it really does. So it's a little more, it maps logically, I think, a little bit better. Whereas I think go back might be a little limited. Plus, and I don't want to get too crazy with too many extensions on there. Like go here, go there, and whatnot. So I don't know. I think there might be a way to sort of achieve the same thing, but maybe be a little more explicit. So those are just some of my thoughts.
Cool. Yeah, so let's talk about it. Cool.
And also in the chat, I know some people were talking about the audio. I think I figured it out. I think that my max audio is too loud, so it was distorting going through. So let me know, and I can keep adjusting it. So I want to kind of get this good and going for the future one. And it looks like Malin says audio is much better now. So let me know if I can adjust it. I'm reading all hundreds of chats here in real time. So good conversation going back. So anyways, continue on.
All right. So here's another one that I think is worthy of some conversation, again from Andre, where the switch currently has an on color, but it doesn't have an off color. And this maps closely to what you get in the native APIs. However, it's not necessarily consistent with a Visual State Manager kind of approach where you have one color property and you use states to then address it, as opposed to having separate properties for each state. So I think this is one I'd like to see some conversation on, and I wanted to bring it to your attention. Obviously, I want the off color, but what's the right way to do it? Because one path makes a lot of sense for MVVM implementation, but when you start considering model view update or reactive UI, you may have different opinions on what really makes the most sense. And so I would love to have a conversation on how this API should look moving forward, and let's standardize it across all of our controls, because we do have a mismatch between controls in terms of exposing properties that are state specific, and then having Visual State Manager kind of be the overall overriding way in which to style controls. So cool. This is one I found interesting. I did not know that there was a physical mouse back button. Did anybody else know that this existed? Like, I've got a really sophisticated Logitech mouse here. Are one of these buttons the back button?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm inspecting my Razer mouse.
Yeah, I'm checking out my mouse right now. I'm like,
I think you can map some. I think you can map some things. Yeah.
Okay. So I probably have some learning to do here on how that works, but there is a on back button pressed. So how should that work on UWP with the physical mouse? So we have a pull request here from PandaLink, Alex, that implements this. Pretty cool. So it hasn't been merged. It's fairly fresh, 21 days ago. Not super fresh, but fairly fresh. So that's pretty cool. If you're doing UWP desktop work and you want that back support, go give that a like, give it a heart. This is one I wanted to call attention to because we shipped app theme in an experimental preview in 4.6. And so you can begin using that now. But there are situations where at runtime, if the OS theme changes, you won't see it change your app until you reopen it. And so this PR does the work there. It'll be coming out in the next service release as well. And we also have some API adjustments that are coming that will allow you to decide whether or not you want the OS to trigger the theme change, or if you want the user to be able to opt in and opt out of dark and light themes. That way, if the user says, I want dark, but then the OS says, oh, hey, it's time for light theme based on the configuration, the app will override that. So, and then you can opt back into letting the OS control it. So some nice improvements coming there. There's quite a few PRs that are actually open, I think mostly from Stefan. So you can check that out. It's a really cool API. It's going to make doing dark and light themes in your apps so much easier. I mean, it's not terribly hard now with dynamic resource and just having a couple different resource dictionaries and swapping it out. But Gerald did a really nice job of giving you the app level hooks to do this. I had noticed through some tweeting that the W3C had a spec and opened up gap on Flex layout, which is the spacing between elements in a Flex layout. It's a nice feature you have on things like stack layout, where you can say, hey, I want the spacing to be this between the different items. Flex layout didn't have that. And of course, Flex layout is really all about spacing of children and distribution of the items, as well as flowing them. Gap is just a really nice addition, or spacing is a nice addition to Flex layout to add that functionality. So look forward to that one coming. And it is by row and by column, which I think is also a nice distinction. So it doesn't have to be the same spacing for horizontal and vertical. Couple more here. This is one. Thank you so much, Shane, for working on this one. I was doing, I don't know, what was I building? One of my demos for the 4.6 release, or it was for the build demos. But I was like, man, I really want to control the background color. It's not the flyout background itself, but the backdrop. It's that shadow or that partially opaque background that hides the content of your app. And so Shane went in and gave us the appearance property to be able to do that. And I think it took you, 15 minutes, Shane? 5 minutes? 3 minutes?
Sure.
All he did was sneeze and it was done.
Yeah, I don't know. iOS was a little tricky to get some of the touch calculations working, but if you scroll down, there's GIFs.
Ooh,
there you go.
This is
Play that GIF. Oh yeah, purple with the transitional fade. Look at that.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then that's going back to the default, and then the iOS one is below that. So the iOS one was a little tricky because the iOS flyout is all custom built. So it's yeah. So I mean, all the transition behaviors we have to build. Working with the iOS animation APIs is interesting because it's like 4 levels deprecated. So yeah, but it came out pretty nice. So that should be landing in 4.7.
Yeah. Awesome. So, yeah. Awesome. I love it. I will definitely make good use of that. And I noticed this one in Essentials, and then as soon as I noticed this, I saw Mach, you had posted another pull request, although I don't think I opened that one, where Matthew Leibowitz added Mac OS support to Essentials all up. Is that what I saw?
That's correct. Yeah, we announced it at Xamarin Conf, the .NET Conf, focused on Xamarin event in my session. Yeah, if you go into PRs and then closed, and then Mac OS, I think it's Mac OS, right? Yeah, Matthew Leibowitz and a bunch of people gave in. It's up, down, 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 down. It was a while ago. There it is, 1111. So this started many moons ago in 2018, surprisingly enough. And not that we, it's not that it took a long time to review the PR, get the thing in there. It's just we shifted priorities, right? I mean, that's when you're doing anything. There's priorities. You want feedback. You can see there's 15 participants on the GitHub issue here. So community members, team members. We had multiple reviews, and of course, as we grew Xamarin Essentials, we added more and more APIs. And you can see here like what's supported, what's not supported, and yeah, basically everything, including Apple sign-in authentication, everything like that. We got the Kruger on there, and it's really good. So we're going to try to land that in 1.6. I don't have a ETA on that, but you can of course go to the bottom here on any of the pull requests. You can't shake the device.
I want shake support, especially on my Mac with the crappy keyboard.
I think you can shake a Surface Book, because I think there's a accelerometer in there.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So if you scroll down to the bottom here, And any of the PRs you can grab. Keep going. You're not signed in.
I'm not signed in.
But you can grab the NuGet from there. That's what I'm saying. If you want to test it out. And we're going to start to try to do some nightly builds and things like that and get a CI feed set up. But yeah, it's right there. Boom. You're good to go.
Cool. And on top of that, we already have a PR here to add file picker implementation and has been merged. So apparently we liked it from Vividos in Germany. I say Vividos like it's a Spanish word, but I'm in Germany and I'm like, oh, wait a second, I have to redo that.
Yeah, we got a bunch of cool stuff coming in 1.6. A lot of good stuff from the community. So we're trying to get the contacts, the calendar support. There's like app links. I have some more app theming stuff. You got to duplicate all the app theming support everywhere. But it's good because if you're using like older versions of Xamarin.Forms or you're not a Forms application, you're still going to need that stuff. So you're there. Yeah, so super excited about that. So it's going good. It's going good. So.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited to see the macOS stuff as well because I would like to enable more macOS inside of Xamarin.Forms. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
Okay.
And I think we're ready for Shane. Shane, are you ready to show us some 4.6 magic?
That's right. 50 minutes into it, we're ready to go through Xamarin.Forms 4.6. What do you got for us, Shane?
Is it sharing all right?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, I just mainly wanted to highlight some of the styling fixes that we've put in. So I think David Britch is going to do a blog post about this that he's putting out today. So this is sort of our slowly putting in additional customization features into the flyout. Yeah, just trying to make it so you can sort of tweak it as much as possible without having to totally back out of the implementation and then sort of just build it from the ground up. So in 4.6, what we've done is we've tied in style classes into the flyout, which is really cool because with style classes, you can set literally any property since it just sort of applies it over the elements. So when we first kind of looked at this, we were looking at just adding a bunch of APIs, sort of like, flyout text color, flyout image thingy, et cetera, et cetera. But then that just kind of gets cumbersome because you're basically having to replicate these entire APIs. So we went a style class route. So effectively, this is the default flyout template that's used. So you'll see this is reminiscent of sort of UWP with like control templates and such. But this is the exact XAML that's used to generate the flyout items, as you can see out here on the left. And then what we've done is we've basically attached style classes to the images and the labels and then the layout itself up here. And then what we've also done is we've attached names to name properties. So this is reminiscent of things that you'll see in UWP control templates, where in the Visual State Manager, they can reference different elements by name and then set certain properties. So there's the image is just flyout item image. The label is just flyout item label. And then the layout up here is flyout item layout. So I have a quick demo here, just sort of showing how this customization works. So what happens is, the cool thing about style classes is that they're composable. So you can basically just comma separate a bunch of different ones. So we have the default style, which is applied first. And then after that, there's an empty style class, which is like here, flyout item label style, that gets added to all of them. So if you just want to modify a very basic some feature of all of them, you can just modify the flyout item label style, and then that gets applied to all of your labels here. So now you can see they're all purple. The text decorations here are using an underline. And then you can see here what I've done is I've applied a background color to the image. So this is now just applying a gray background to everything. And then what you could also do is do everything from the perspective of the layout here using sort of the Visual State Manager. So I'll break this down here in a sec once I save it. So what I've done here on the layout is I've basically said, hey, I want all of the layouts to be 80. I want the background color to be orange. And then now I've injected in my own visual state manager here. And I've set, okay, this is what I want to do for the selected properties. I want the background to be pink. And then I want to change, and then this is the target name stuff here, which is neat. And you can set that to green. So as you can see here, now the selected item here is green. So then that lets you apply general styles to the entire layout. But then what you can do on top of that is if you want to sort of get more granular, you can still create custom styles and apply those. So here you'll see I created a custom style that I'm applying to an image. And you'll see that what I've done is I've basically just set the style class on the here. I've set the style class here on this flyout item, which is just the elephant one. So now at this point, this middle thing here, the style class, if you looked at it, would be our internal style, comma, default, the flyout item style that you applied lower down, and then this custom one. So it really lets you sort of customize everything and then customize individually for each of those things you want to set. Yeah, so that's kind of the big exciting thing that we added here. And then we're doing some additional work that'll hopefully land in 4.7, 4.8, sort of creating like a navigation list that'll let you sort of even get more specific with how you want to customize the entire layer. So a lot of it is just really trying to give users the ability not to totally opt out of Shell to have to do anything. Because that's the idea, is with Shell, you sort of get a full featured app and then you customize it instead of having to like start over. So for example, like we could just provide a content template to replace this entire thing. But then once you place the entire thing, you're now losing the navigation stuff. So when we're going to replace this whole thing with a template, we want to provide a way to start from, having this built and then being able to sort of customize that. So yeah, so those are kind of the neat features we added to the styling. And then I have a couple other things. Let's see, let's see if my iOS build host is still connected. Is it? We added better RTL for Shell as well. So as you'll see here, I think I mislabeled the radio buttons here. Yeah, I mislabeled the radio buttons. That's really funny. Is it? Kind of. But yeah, so this is also demoing the radio buttons. Ooh, radio buttons, which was also added in 4.6. And yeah, and so the radio buttons are kind of neat because the way I did that was with a custom template. So I defined a template here, which is just a menu item. And then what I have down here is I have a template where I've basically just replaced the entire things with radio buttons. So you can also just replace an entire flyout with whatever control that you want to, which is really neat for those sort of customization features. And then someone recently, what was his name up here? Adam, who was featured a little earlier, had added an expander control, which I thought was kind of a neat case. Check this out.
That's cool. I mean, I've never seen all these enhancements to it. Like one, I just want to make sure like people, like the first thing with the radio buttons, like you can just put any content in there and that's super duper cool, right? It's just like, and now you're this, I love that. That's really cool. And I love that expander view. That's sort of reminiscent of, login accounts. Like when I'm in Gmail, it'll like do like the drop down or whatever and the flyout. That's cool.
Yeah, and so there's a small quirk on iOS that I need to fix, but I thought this was a really good way to sort of show the expander control and also demonstrate just some of the customization here. So this is also an additional customization that we're working on. On Friday, I do a stream customizing this stuff, which will also add these features like being able to do a footer there. So yeah, so that was the, I don't know. I thought the expander was kind of a neat addition. And then I added kind of a quick, let's see if this pulls up. So here's sort of a demonstration of the modal behavior that I've added. So what this is basically doing is doing a go to async ... and then I'm passing in a string that's effectively the date time. And then if I click it, it goes back, and you can see I'm binding it to the header up here. And so that's just using ... to pass data back, which is neat, which is a really cool feature with the ... stuff. So yeah. So that's
Sweet.
what I have. We're at time, right? I had a few tabs if I needed to fill some space, but I think
You can go more. Go for it. What else you got?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm learning things. This is
Yeah.
okay.
I don't have another meeting for 30 minutes, so.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Yeah. So then I kind of just went through and opened up some of the enhancements, some of the stuff that we touched on already. I want to highlight the Shell project board here. So the Shell project board has things that are in progress, the blockers and things like that we're working on. So you can kind of you can look at this to see what we're working on. And if there's things here that you would like added, or things that you don't really like where we're going with it, yeah, comment here. The Tizen one, which was already touched on, but this is really cool. Do they have a demo? Yeah, it's really neat on the Tizen watch here, which is that's kind of one of the big advertisements of Shell, is being able to project that model onto any sort of UI context. So the Tizen one is a really cool representation of sort of the power of Shell.
very true.
Yeah, and then I wanted to just highlight just some community stuff real quick. Pedro Jesus here has been super helpful with a lot of Shell stuff. He's constantly creating PRs and chatting me up about different ways to implement things and stuff. So I just wanted to shout out my appreciation to Pedro. Let's see. We added a lot of Shell cancellation behavior in 4.6. So for example, in this example app, I've overridden the back button, so you basically can't exit the app and you're permanently stuck in the community stand-up. So this is all just operating via the navigating feature here. So basically I'm just checking if you're trying to navigate to a route here, and it just cancels it. So, and then we also fixed a lot of the navigation around your tabs down here, with sort of being able to not click on things. So for example, here I just have it totally shut down. Here I've kind of built in a prompt feature, like, are you sure? No, to be able to sort of articulate navigation. So a lot of that was fixed in 4.6. A lot of the navigation events were super messy, but those should be cleaned up. So if you have any other navigation scenarios that aren't working out, please let me know so we can get those all fixed. This is highlighting some things upcoming. Ad is visible, I know, has a lot of interest, so 43 thumbs. So this is one that I'll be pushing into 4.7 unless something odd stops it from making it there. So yeah, so see that one upcoming. Here's the Shell content template work that we're doing. So I have a stream I'm doing every Friday. I start around 2:30 Mountain Standard Time. If you'd like to join in and kind of see where we're going with this. Basically what we're doing, so right now the flyout here is natively implemented on every platform. So on iOS, it's a collection, it's a table view, I think. On Android, it's a recycler view, and on UWP, it's a list view. So what we're doing is extracting this out. So it's just a bindable layout. It's just a nested set of bindable layouts. So it's all totally cross-platform. And then once we get that finished, then that's basically what we'll provide for our content, to say, hey, look, here's the bindable layout that represents your entire flyout. Start there and then just customize however you want. So yeah, that's a really exciting one. I'm hoping we can get that one in 4.7, but just depends. This is the one that we've been working on for a bit here. So this is the MVVM support stuff, which we're really excited about. This will add a lot of cool features with Prism integration, or MVVM cross, or reactive UI. Sextant, I think, is the reactive UI one. I'm not sure the progress on that, but yeah, so this is going to add a lot of cool features that will also allow you to sort of pass more complex objects with GoToAsync and things like that. So this is going to be a really big one that I'm hoping to land in 4.7, especially so we can get as much feedback as possible. Probably be 4.8, but maybe we can rally. Yeah, and this was one that just had a lot of interest. I wanted to highlight. There was some issue with the back navigation flickering, which was causing like a weird flash. So if that was something that you had kind of been suffering through, we have that one fixed in 4.6. And then the backdrop I was going to highlight, but yeah, Dave kind of highlighted that one. So that'll be landing in 4.7, which will hopefully be soon. Let's see if I can poke some people to get this one merged here. Yeah, let's see. Stefan went to. Oh, I'm not logged in. I was going to remove Stefan because he's asleep and harass someone else, but I'm not logged in. So yeah, those are kind of all the upcoming things with Shell. I think once we get the 3 huge ones that I'd really like to get, especially by 4.8, is visible, the content template, and then this one, which will really, I think, cause a lot of Shell scenarios to really explode. So yeah.
Just say it like it's going to happen, and then go back to the team and say, I made promises on the stand-up. So I need you guys to help me out.
Yeah, the David model.
That's what the stand-up is for.
Do that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
this is very cool stuff. I'm really excited that we're able to take this to the next level.
And this guy's also been super helpful, HOB dev. So he logs a lot of good issues, and we have a lot of really good conversations as well. So I don't know if he watches these, but I always enjoy our back and forths on GitHub. So yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Very cool. All right. I guess we'll pop back over and say our goodbyes. You can stop sharing there, Shane. And then
we already lost Maddie. When did she disappear?
Maddie had another meeting, so she had to go. She's like, I'm out. So, well, first, yeah, it was funny because it was David and I did the Xamarin show on 4.6, and it's kind of cool to see where Shell is evolving. And it's funny because in the comments, someone was like, I feel like I'm being sold on Shell because there's all these new Shell enhancements, and I don't think it was necessarily that I was being sold on Shell. It's just here's a bunch of new features based on like what people need in their apps. And in my newest apps, I'm 100% in on Shell. I went all in on Shell from the beginning. I'm using like deep URL navigation, routing, app links, and it works beautifully. Like, you know, it was really good to like do file new because I've tried to like shoehorn into existing applications. And I was talking about this on the Xamarin podcast next week. I think it comes out. And it was just super delightful to be able to do that with the new font icon stuff. It's like really easy to put together and do navigation and all the small things. And I was really on the heels of 4.6 and all the betas. And yeah, it's delightful. So great work, team. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. I like that you two are wearing matching shirts today.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, it's a great shirt. It's one of my favorites. I wanted to say this about Shell and selling, right? Yeah, the thing is that we were trying to generate excitement about the features, not because we're selling, but because we know you're going to like it because it started with your complaints, right? So like that's how we ship things. It's the ship quickly, get the feedback, and then find out what the direction is we need to take things. So we're not trying to convince you that these things are good. We're actually just trying to say, hey, based on your feedback, we've done this work. Come celebrate it because we know it's going to be useful. You told us you already needed it. So yeah. We're not making things up.
No, and I've been I've been played around a lot with Shell and did a lot of stuff with Shell. And like for my apps that I had, it was like, I don't know. And then the new app, I was just like, I'm all in. Let me just give it a go, right? And actually, I started with Shell, went off Shell, and then went back to Shell. So funnily enough, like because of how Shell orchestrates stuff, I was like, oh, let me try to use like the Sharpnado tabs. And then I was like, well, I'm not really getting any benefit over the built-in tabs. And then, it's going back and forth. And then I landed back on Shell, and I was really glad I did just because all the URL routing. And I think even if I wasn't using anything, you could just literally put a content page into a Shell. Like and then you could use URL navigation from there. So if you just use it and you want that URL stuff, it's pretty good. So anyways, good work, team. I think that's going to do it for the stand-up. Anything else? Did we do anything else?
I'm good. This is great.
All right.
This was good.
All right, cool. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Of course, you can go to live.net, live.dot.net, live.net. Maybe I'll just put in the HTTP live.net. That's where you go, and that's where you find everything for not only this stand-up, but every other stand-up too. ASP.NET on Tuesday. We got languages and runtime. We got desktop. We got entity framework, a whole bunch of good stuff. If you're in the .NET world, give it a look. Thanks to Shane, Maddie, and David for joining once again. Until build, Until build, not even next month. Until build. Have a good one. Stay safe, everyone. Wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Cool. See ya.